was just in my prayer time, and one of the things that the Lord said to me as I was reflecting on how people as a child would try to shame me for needing help as a child. And so, before I explain where I'm going with this, what the Lord said to me was people believing that a warlock would favor them is equivalent to Lucifer telling them, promising them that he will love them, honor them, appreciate, respect them, and make sure that they're protected. Okay, so where am I going with that? So as I was reflecting on how far I've come in my life and how since being a child I was always shamed for needing help. You know, people would want to help me, but my so-called dad would tell them, oh, she doesn't need any help, don't help her, she don't need nothing, she could do it herself. And then he in turn would then ask people for that same help as a grown individual, as a man. You know, and there's nothing wrong with people asking for help, but I'm going somewhere with this. As a man that wasn't doing anything. I mean, there's a difference between a child needing help with something and a grown man who doesn't want to do anything, but yet turn around and ask for that same help that child just asked for. And the foolishness of it all is that people would actually listen to him. And I don't know if they thought that, you know, he would give them some sort of favoritism, but the Lord pointed out to me that he gave them a specific assignment. He told them to go and help me. And because that warlock said, no, don't help her, they decided to abort the mission to abort the assignment to listen to their warlock. So the Lord had to use me. It made me think about, you know, when I first moved to Texas. Now, the Lord told me back in 2006, and I have a brief story on here on one of my videos telling how the Lord then said to me that he wanted me to move to Texas. All right, so fast forward 2012. Nobody asked me if I needed any help. You know, I was just recently divorced. Well, actually, I moved down to Texas in 2013. But, you know, I had just recently got divorced. 2 small children. You know, my daughter, she had just graduated kindergarten. My son, I think he's like 3, just turned 3. And so nobody said, hey, do you need any help with anything? Like, when it came down to everything, like the Lord opened up so many doors for me that it wasn't even funny. You know, the people who I was looking at apartments, you know, the favor of the Most High, they said they don't even do electronic leases. But for me, only me, they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I looked for the apartment. I made sure to get a rental car. I made sure that my electricity was on. I made sure that I had everything it was that I needed. The only thing I didn't have was furniture. And so, you know, not one person said, hey, do you need any gas money? You know, not one person fixed me and my kids a meal on the road. It was a 12-hour drive from St. Louis to Texas. You know what I'm saying? Not one person said, hey, we packed you some lunches, you know, have safe travels. All they said was, oh, call me at every stop, every gas station or some stuff like that. It's like, we're really going to sit there and keep remembering that. But anyway, so with that, it's the enemy wanted me to keep the spirit of pride. I was very prideful. You know, I felt that I could do it myself because of what I was trained to believe as a child because of my so-called dad, the warlock, you know. And so it was a situation where I had got fired from my job and I needed help with rent. And so the Lord said, you need to reach out to your people. I did not want to do that at all. You know, because of how I grew up. It's like anytime I needed help with anything, they would want to give me speeches. You know, anytime I needed help with anything, I was given a lecture. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I just needed some money, mind you, I'm a kid or a teenager, and I would ask for help. And I would be giving speeches and lectures, you know, about hard work and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I don't think this video was long enough for me to keep going on and on. But nobody can talk to me about hard work when I was 15, living with my mom on the north side of St. Louis. We stayed on Palm and 21st. And I would get up 2-3 o'clock in the morning to get myself together for school because it took me that long to make up in my mind that I needed to go to school so that I can get on the school. It wasn't the school bus, it was the bi-state bus, the public transportation, just before 5 a.m. It would be a 2-hour commute. I would have to take a couple of Metro links. I would have to take another public bus to get to school to still be like 20 minutes late. So I would get on the public bus, and all I had was bus fare. I didn't have nothing to eat. My so-called dad didn't want to fill out my lunch form, my food form for the year, so I couldn't have breakfast, I couldn't have lunch, so I didn't eat before I left. It was barely any food at my mom's house, so I was running on complete fumes. And by the time I got to school, it was like 20 minutes late, and I'm exhausted. Mind you, I said I'd get up about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Can't nobody talk to me about hard work when nobody would take me to work at 16, and I had to walk over almost 2 hours to get to work because I didn't know how to catch the bus there. Can't nobody talk to me about what hard work looked like. When I had, for my first job interview at Northwest Plaza Mall, and my so-called dad didn't even want to give me bus fare to get to work. He didn't even want to take me to work. So I had to walk over an hour to get to my first interview in May at a clothing store. And by the time I got there, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, my feet are hurting. Can't nobody talk to me about hard work. But anyway, and this is all as a teenager. Not to mention when I was living with my uncle and his then girlfriend that eventually became his first wife, used to make me have to clean up that house from top to bottom. And I was 10. That entire house from top to bottom by myself. And the reward that I would get would be $5 on a Friday for cleaning that whole house from top to bottom. She would berate me, belittle me, talk down to me. I was 10. Can't nobody talk to me about hard work. But anyhow, so fast forward how the Lord was trying to get me out of the spirit of believing that I don't deserve help. So he had me call my family, and just the gossip of it all. And these are men, mind you. These aren't women. These are men that are gossiping like that, talking about me and all this. Mind you, they knew that their mother went through similar situations. She was so prideful. She didn't ask anybody for help. You know, when she did ask people for help, they helped her, you know, and it took a lot for her. And the crazy thing about it was never her family that helped her. It was never her family that helped her. That's sad. But anyway, they would gossip about me and all this, then the third, all because of that warlock. All because of that warlock, but yet that warlock had to move from place to place because he couldn't keep a stable home with a whole family, a grown man. But yet when your daughter, who was recently divorced, single mother, learning to navigate life as a divorcee, needed help, you talk crap about her. You want to gossip about her. But yet this is the same guy that had his family living out of a hotel for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? This is the same guy who got his cars repossessed because he didn't want to pay the bills and then had to borrow his mom's car. You know what I mean? Is this the same guy who borrowed money from so many people and never paid them back? He owes so many people that it's ridiculous. My thing is this. The Lord had me reflecting on how I needed to learn to get out of that energy, that demonic energy of believing that I'm not worth being helped just because of an insecure, small-minded, minuscule pipsqueak was intimidated at me jumping leaps and bounds over them, which ended up happening anyway. Because look at who the Lord called me to be. Look at what the Lord has done in my life, regardless of who chooses to help and who doesn't. Because this is the thing. The Lord had to get me out the spirit of pride. That's pride. Thinking that you're not worth helping. Thinking that you don't need help. That's ridiculous. The wealthy will tell you in a heartbeat that they hire people to help them. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that little tidbit because, you know, as I'm meditating, as I'm in my prayer time, the Lord really expounded on that. And just to look at how far I've come. Like, people need to stop playing with me. People really need to stop playing with me. And to God be the glory, I don't look like what I've been through.